Hi everyone, I'm April, and you're watching The Tangled Cat Speaks, and this is episode number 24. As you may have noticed, I wasn't here last week because I was in the middle of actually moving houses. So I am fully moved into my new house, although I'm not fully unpacked. I still have quite a bit that I need to get done. You can see an empty bookshelf back here. There's another one somewhere. I haven't put a lot of my knickknacks away, and I'm still trying to figure out where a lot of my clothes is going to go. It's a little bit odd trying to figure out how you're going to fit things in a new configuration in your new home. So that's where I'm at now. So I am in my new home. This is actually a sunroom, so it's got quite a bit of light. You can probably hear there's a bird outside somewhere making some joyous noise in the background, which I love. I love the sound of birds. But I'm also very close to a main road here, so you're going to hear the occasional vehicle passing by, and I'm sorry for that, but you know, it's my new space, so it is what it is. I'm going to start by saying I didn't get a whole lot of knitting done because I was moving. And then in the last couple of days, I ended up not feeling well, and I'm okay. I'm sort of recovering. It was just I ended up in the hospital, in the emergency room, for a kidney stone. I'd never had them before, so when I felt this pain, it scared me, and I ended up in the emergency room because I didn't know why my stomach was hurting like that. So it turns out I have a kidney stone that I need to pass. So the first few days of that was horrendous. Drink water, people. Drink lots of water. Take care of your body, because my goodness, that was the worst pain ever. And I mean, I know I've heard a lot of people compare it to having a baby, and I guess I can see that. But you know, at the end of having a baby, you have a baby. I didn't get that with this. I'm still waiting to see what other kind of pain is going to happen. But anyway, a lot of rambling about that. I'm feeling a little bit better now. So I'm going to go ahead and podcast. Let's see. Sorry, I'm a little lost here. I really just wasn't feeling well enough to concentrate on a lot of knitting those first couple of days. So I did a lot of sleeping and a lot of reading. So I mentioned the last time that I was reading a book by Sarah Rain called Property of a Lady, and that it's a haunted house story. Well, I finished that. It was so good. It was a really, really good story, and I enjoyed it very much. It had a lot of creepy scenes, and it was just a really interesting story. A little bit of a mystery and intrigue going on in there, which I guess that's kind of what ghost stories are kind of about. You're trying to figure out why this haunting is happening. So, you know, it kind of falls right up my alley as far as mysteries, because I love mysteries. So I finished reading Property of a Lady, and I started reading the second book in the same series by Sarah Rain. And this one is called The Sin Eater. Oh, there's some glare going on there. The Sin Eater. This one is also a ghost story, but it's a little bit different. The first one was more, I don't know, it's a different kind of haunting, I guess. This one is a little more on the possession side as opposed to haunting. It's darker. This has a definite darker tone as compared to the first book. It's a little more gruesome, a little more daring, I guess. It's interesting the way that this one has gone. I'm already halfway through, because like I said, that's really all I could do was lay in bed and read. But it's so good. I am really enjoying this, so I'm really, really excited to get through this one and find out what the third book is about. But this is pretty dark. I love it. I'm very, very happy that I stumbled upon her in my library. So again, speaking of my library, where did I put them? I have come across a whole bunch of books as I was packing and moving and trying to unpack and put all my books back. And I found that I had several old paperbacks that I got from the free cart at the library. I can't talk enough about how much I love the free card at the library. I mean, you can find some interesting things. And a while before I really got into mysteries, I don't really care for romance per se, but I did stumble across a few Gothic. They're called Gothic romances, I think, or Gothic romance or Gothic mystery. I can't remember. I think it kind of is the same thing. But these are, I found 3 books, and I have a whole bunch more like this. But they're old as heck. Let's see. This one is Who Walks by Moonlight by Marjorie McAvoy. And this is, oh my gosh, it's so old. The pages are yellowing. This was written in, or copyrighted, let's see, 1963. And you're going to see almost all of these books. It's the Gothic mystery romance kind of style, where it's usually got this young girl going off to stay in some home, some gigantic home or castle, and there's usually something sinister going on, and she's not sure if the people that she's going to stay with are involved or they're victims or something. There's usually some sort of mystery going on, and they all involve these young girls that end up, working somehow as a secretary or a governess or something along those lines, in these big mystery homes. So this is Who Walks by Moonlight. This one is Wing Garden, Elsie Lee, and again, there's the young girl in the fancy home. And then this one is Mistress of the Shadows by Ruth McLeod. Now, I love the ones where they show them on these, there's actually quite a few of them. You see this woman running through some moorland or cliffside with the ocean in the background. Like, where is she running in that nightgown? My goodness. Like, what scared her that bad that she's running around in that nightgown? But I really like these. They're super short. They're usually less than 200 pages, less than even 150. They're very short, very quick and to the point. They're suspenseful. There's a little bit of sinister stuff going on. There's a little bit of romance and intrigue going on in there, but it's not in your face, sex and, very detailed. I'm not into those kinds of books. But these older Gothic mysteries are very much like that. There's a little bit of, she's falling for the master of the home that she works in, but could he be the bad guy? That kind of thing. Let's see. So this one is 1967. This was The Mistress of the Shadows, 1967. And then The Wings Garden by Elsie Lee. That one was 1971. So the Gothic mysteries, I think it appears that it was, sometime during the 60s and early 70s that these were really popular, maybe even earlier than that. But I have quite a few of these, and I've read quite a few, and there's one author that I really enjoy is Phyllis A. Whitney, is one that I've read quite a few of hers. But these are the ones that I found so far. I know I've got several others, but I'm still, like I said, in the middle of unpacking and finding things all over again. So that's what I got for books. That's what I've been doing, is doing a lot of reading, and I really want to I haven't read one of the Gothic mysteries in quite a while, so I'd really like to get back to doing that. So the other thing that I did on the first day that I stopped taking the pain medication, when I was able to finally get out of bed and up and walk around and not feel terrible, I decided that I wanted to dye some yarn. I was in the kitchen making tea, and I noticed that I had a box of gel food coloring. I had 3 tubes of gel food coloring. I had used 2 other tubes a while back when I dyed something else. It was a package, it's just a generic brand of gel food coloring, probably a Walmart brand because that's mostly where I shop for groceries. So it was just a generic brand of gel food color. It was blue, purple, orange, and pink, and green. So 5 colors. And I had already used the blue and the purple in something else a while back, but I had these 3 tubes, and I was kind of in the mood to dye something, but I didn't have necessarily any bare yarn that I was willing to experiment with. But I did have, and I'm going to put a picture here of what the yarn looked like before, as well as what it looked like as soon as I was done dyeing it, because I've already caked it up and started knitting with it because I really loved how it turned out. This yarn is Pandy's Jewels yarn, and it is on her wispy base, which is a lace weight, and it's over 900 yards of lace weight yarn, and it's a baby pink, bubblegum pink kind of tonal yarn. And at the time that I purchased it, which was at least 2 years ago, I was in love with it. I thought, oh my God, that is the most beautiful yarn ever. And I really want to do something lace weight. So I bought it, and it sat and it sat and it sat, and it's been in there ever since. I could never figure out what I actually wanted to make with it, because as time went on, I started thinking, I'm not really a pink person. I don't know why. I think I fell in love with the color itself, but as far as wearing baby bubblegum pink, and I mean, it's 900 yards of lace weight. It's gonna be a shawl, but I couldn't figure out, really, did I want to wear all of this pink up in here? I didn't think so, and I just couldn't find the right pattern that I thought I really wanted to use. So it sat and it sat. And so what I did was I decided I was gonna dye this. And no offense to Julia over at Pandy's Jewels, because she dyes some wonderful, wonderful colors. And I do still love the baby pink that this started out as, but I just couldn't see myself wearing it. So even though I loved the yarn, I loved the color, the yarn itself is super soft and squishy. I just couldn't see myself wearing it. So I did dye it. And what I did was I mixed the hot pink and the orange in my dye pot, and I thought maybe I can get it, instead of being this neon outrageous orange, the pink and the orange would sort of mix and make it something a little more to my liking. And since it was already pink, I thought that the hot pink food coloring would enhance that just a little bit, giving it more of a reddish orange as opposed to a yellowy orange. So I went ahead and mixed. I put the 2 full tubes, or maybe about that big, 2 full tubes of one of each color in the dye pot. And I had soaked my yarn and I dip dyed it. So you'll notice in the photo afterward, it turned out, I dip dyed it so that the loop of the skein of yarn at the bottom end of the loop is darker in orange. It took up more of the orange/pink dye than it did at the very end. So you'll see in this wrapped up skein that there is still some pink. Some of that pink did stay because most of the color soaked up at the very beginning as I was dip dyeing. So I love how it turned out. I was so excited. It turned out so pretty, almost like to me it looks like just like a pretty sunset, like pink fluffy clouds that are fading into an evening sunset, or I don't know, maybe it's like maybe it makes me think of mimosas or something. I don't know, but I love it because the orange is a little on the redder side. It's dark and deep, and then excuse me, I ended up, where's my notes? I ended up having to cast on immediately. I went and found a pattern that I thought would look so pretty with it, and so I caked it up right away. This is what it looks like caked up, and it's really, really difficult to even now see the pink. The lightest color in there, let's see if I can get closer, is that baby pink that was left over. So this ended up being very much of a tonal yarn, and you can see there's the shots of some of the darkest orange, and then it's got a lot of the lighter. It's just, to me, it's so pretty. It almost makes me think of what are they called? Dreamsicle? The ice cream? Oh my gosh, it's just so pretty, but it's definitely pink, but because it's up against this darker orange, it almost looks just like a corally peach color. But I love it. It's definitely something that I think I would wear more than a bubblegum pink. So what I did was I searched and searched and I found a pattern that I thought I would like. And this is I cast on the Nefertiti wrap by Miriam L. Felton. And it's very interesting. It's a rectangular shawl or stole, and it's knit from one corner to the opposite corner. And it's just turning out so pretty. Although she's got a stitch in there that I had never heard of before, called you've heard of slip, slip, knit. This is slip, slip, slip knit. So instead of decreasing one stitch, you're decreasing two. It was very interesting. I was like, that's pretty weird. It's not difficult to do at all. It was just different. I'd never seen it before. So it's working out really cool. And I only did the first, I think this is like 25 rows. And, sorry. So you can see this is a very tonal yarn. You can see a lot of color variation in there from having dip dyed the pink in the orange. Oh, get closer, April. There, is it focusing? But yeah, so it's got these, it's a pretty lace pattern, and this, I'm holding it like this and it kind of looks like it's going to be a regular shawl, but it's not. It's actually going to be a corner. There you go. So it's going to be a rectangular shawl. So it's just turning out super pretty. I'm loving how the pink and the orange look together, making it, something completely different, but something I'm more likely to wear. So I'm very happy, So I was in the dyeing mood. I had exhausted the whole dye pot, but I still had a lot of vinegar left in the water. So I didn't want it to go to waste. I still had the other two colors. Or no, I still had the one other tube left, and that was the green. So I think I mentioned that green is my favorite color, but I haven't really bought a whole lot of green because I feel like at the beginning of my knitting years, that's all I bought was green. So really, there's not a whole lot of green in my stash. I'm slowly moving towards aquas right now, but and I do have a bunch of teals and aquas. So what I did with the green, I went ahead and put the green in the dye bath and added just a tiny bit more vinegar. And I had this other, and I'm going to put another picture here of what this yarn looked like. This is Knit Picks Stroll Tonal, I believe. I'm going to have to check that. But it's also like a heavy lace weight, light fingering, I guess. I think it's listed as a lace weight, but it's definitely not as thin as this one. This is the finished product, but it was originally just the teal. And again, I dip dyed this in the green and basically held it like this. So it ended up with a lot more green on the end and slowly fading back into the original teal. And so now I've got a pretty green yarn that has just a little pop of blue in it, and I'm super, super pleased with it. But it didn't exhaust the color. It was taking quite a long time for the green to exhaust. I don't know. I'm thinking because this is only a 50-gram skein. And usually that amount of yarn that amount of food coloring I've used for 100 grams. So I think there just wasn't enough yarn, especially because I didn't do the very end of the skein. There just wasn't enough yarn to take up all the color, so the dye pot didn't exhaust. And what I ended up doing was getting another yarn. It was also Stroll, the Stroll Brights. It was a pickle juice, and this one again, like the other one that I just showed you, I had soaked both of those in the loop. I soaked them wet, got them wet before I started dip dyeing. Well, since I still had green left in this pot, I got a full 50-gram skein of the Stroll Brights in the pickle juice color. So I left it in this, in the center pull skein that it came in, and I excuse me, and I didn't pre-soak it. I just put it into the dye pot with the leftover green, and with a slotted spoon, I just sunk it down into the water so it would be fully submerged. And so you can kind of see that this is what I ended up with. It ended up very, very tonal, and I love it. I loved the pickle juice, but I just wanted to use up that other green, and I thought this would look so pretty as a tonal. And so really I got a lot of the original neon green up in here, but now that neon mixed with the green food coloring made sort of a grassy green color. And so now I've got this really pretty tonal, and now I'm super bummed that I only have the 50 grams of this. So I can't even I might be able to make a pair of shorty socks with a contrasting heel and toe, and I'm thinking probably a black. I don't know. I might get crazy and do something else in there, but I'm definitely going to make shorty socks out of this because I'm digging it so much. So that's what I did, as opposed to a whole lot of knitting. I did a lot of dyeing. And this one, the lace weight one that I had to start immediately, this is going to take me forever. 900 some yards of a lace weight, and I think this is, what is this? So much for my notes. It's a 3.5 millimeter. And right now I only have it on a 16-inch, a Chowgu. I'm definitely going to have to switch this over to one of my longer ones, but because I've been moving, all my 40-inch cable or 40-inch needles are packed away somewhere, and I haven't actually found those yet. So, but I know I have, I think, 3 sets of 4s. All my Chowgus are fixed circulars. I don't have any of the interchangeables, but I went ahead. I was dying to start it, and they're the same size, and once this gets too big to fit on the 16-inch, I can move it over to my 40-inch whenever I find it. So that's what I've got going on, but this is going to take me quite a while, especially because I'm still doing the Brown Bagging It Sock Club every month, and I'm still finishing another. That was a very loud motorcycle, my goodness. I'm still doing the shawl that I started a while back, was the Exploration Station. So let's talk about that next. I believe when I last showed this, I was still up in this section here, which was, I think, second to the last of the wedges. So you can see I finally finished all the wedges. Let me see. And I finished, with much struggle, I finished the brioche section. Oh, I'm loving it. You can see the opposite side. But let me tell you, I don't like working brioche. I love how it looks. I love how it feels. I don't like working it. I have a hole in here somewhere that is not supposed to be there because I dropped something, and this is not like picking up garter or stockinette or even cables. I mean, I can even fix a little bit of lace. I can fix cables, but I could not figure out for the life of me how to pick up stitches. So now I've got this little hole, and it's small in comparison to everything. I don't think anybody's gonna notice that, but I know that I had so many false starts with this thing because I just kept messing up. And it's not really that hard. The repetition throughout each row is not that difficult, but it's enough to where, if like I said, if I dropped a stitch or I forgot to do a yarn over or something, there was no fixing it. I would have to go all the way back across and knit backward because it's not like I can just, you know, yank out stockinette and pick up my stitches and I'm okay with that. I don't have a heart attack. But you can't really do that with brioche, and I was just stressing. So I'm finally done with the brioche. And it's actually getting to be quite a big size. I'm loving it already. I love the colors. These are all Pandia's Jewels on her shimmer base, which is a singles. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, well, I don't know why I'm showing you that. I have the yarn. It's on a singles base. This one is, there's very little ply in there. Singles. So this is the shimmer base. This one is Ice Castle. And I think I've showed you all this before because I had used this yarn for something else and then I changed my mind. This is the Land of Sweets. I love it. I'm really hoping that I have enough of all of these colors so that I can do the Land of, I think it's the same name, the Land of the Sweets cowl. I believe it's Helen Stewart. So I'm really hoping that I have a lot of this shimmer. It's got sparkle in it. I don't know that you can see any of the sparkle here, but these are all very, oh, maybe a little bit there in the bottom corner, very sparkly. And then this one is Berry Stain. See, every time I get closer, it wants to get lighter. It's really a little bit darker than this. This is all kind of blowing out. Berry Stain. This is more of a violet than a pink. And then I don't have the blue because I left that on my couch. But the blue, the darkest color, this one up here, is called Dusk. But it's so pretty because it really is sparkly. I just can't get it. I can't get it to show on camera, but it's so pretty. So I think the next couple of sections are both two color sections, but it's not going to be like, it's not going to be anything as stressful as brioche. Like I said, I don't know that, I didn't even know that this pattern had brioche in it because I only went by when I was searching for a pattern to use this yarn because I was deciding to not use the pattern that I had originally started. I decided to look and use the Ravelry parameters to search, and I went for fingering weight, 4 colors, and then I put in the yardage, which each of these is 400, so I put in a 1200 yard range, as you know, to search for patterns, and that's where I came up with the exploration station. So, and then, you know, you look in, you know, when you look into the actual pattern page that gives you all of the details as far as needles and anything like that, I didn't look at any of the tags to say what this might involve, you know, because a lot of the tags will say something like top down, bottom up, lace, cables, charted, written instructions, stuff like that. And I didn't look at any of that. So now that I started this section, I went back, I'm like, I was bamboozled. It has brioche. No, it's right there. It's clearly right there in the project or in the pattern page. Under all of the tags, it does say brioche, and I'm like, I didn't pay attention. I might not have actually purchased this pattern had I known there was brioche, because I did one other pattern in brioche a while back. I believe I showed it to you. It was a cowl, the fingering brioche bandana cowl or something like that. And again, I like how it looks. I like how it came out, and I just didn't like working it. It's just not something that I'm drawn to, so I probably wouldn't have purchased this had I paid more attention. But that's it. It was just that one little section. I'm done with the brioche. Yay! So that's that. There it is. I'm still working on my brown bagging at Sock Club socks. I really didn't work on these at all in the last couple of weeks, again, because I was moving and I wasn't feeling well. But these are the block party socks that I had mentioned. I really want to get back to these because I like the colors. I like the blue so much. Not so much the pink and brown and purple. It's okay. It's all right. It's just not my fave. But that blue, woo! Love it. I love this so much. So I really want to get back to these socks so I can finish those. And then I'm really debating in July pulling another sock that I've already got. I want to explain it again because I know I've said it before, but it's been a while. The Brown Bagging It Sock Club on Ravelry is basically what we've done is gotten 12 or so skeins of yarn and put each one individually into brown paper bags, close them up and put them aside. And every month we at random grab a bag. And so I'm really debating whether or not I want to do that for July. I know that there's a yarn in the bag. There's enough allotted for the whole year. But I really want to use this. I don't know. These might end up being my July socks in lieu of my Brown Bagging It set aside yarns. But then that's kind of defeating the purpose of the whole Brown Bagging It. The whole premise of the whole thing, the whole point was to use those yarns. But I mean, it's still from Stash. I've had this for a while, and that was my whole reasoning for wanting to join the Brown Bagging It Sock Club on Ravelry. But so I don't know, maybe I'll do both. You know, I'll probably be finished with the exploration station by then, and I can work on 2 pairs of socks for the month. We'll see what I decide, but I don't know. I'm torn. That green is just, I'm loving it. That's really, so since I didn't get anything done, I went through, as I was putting some clothes away and rearranging my whole living situation in my bedroom and my drawers and whatnot, I went through my socks that I finished a while back, and I decided I haven't shown y'all this pair, I believe. That would be so embarrassing. I'm gonna go back and look and see if I showed you these. These are, I'm pretty sure I haven't. I did these in February 2016, I believe. And so these are starting to pill a little bit right here, but I've got a little pill shave or whatever. But I've had them forever. The colors are still pretty vibrant. But these are the Powers Court Waterfall Socks by Knitty Melissa. And they are fraternal socks. So they've got this real pretty lace running down opposite sides. So depending on how you put your socks on, I can have the lace on the outer edge of my foot, or I can have of each foot, or I can have the lace running down the inner edge of my foot. And it's just so pretty. These are made with, this is Zitron Trekking XXL sock yarn. And actually, I don't know if it's a sock yarn, but this was back before I knew about superwash and all of that. And I don't know if this was actually a superwash yarn, because this is pilling up quite a bit, and they are snugger than what I originally meant. I think they did shrink up just a little bit. There's no pilling at all in the actual sock yarn. This up here was Pandia's Jewels snug yarn, but this is my favorite colorway. It's called Tea Earl Grey Hot, and that was Julia at Pandia's Jewels, her little homage to Captain Picard. And I love it. Love it. So I did that in the heels, toes, and cuffs. But this was a really fun pattern, and these are a pair of my favorite socks. I just know that whatever this yarn, it may very well be a sock yarn, but it definitely pills a lot more. This section of the sock is much fuzzier. I don't know if you can see that. It's much fuzzier than this yarn. So, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. I love them. I adore them. I wear them often, and they've held up, other than the little bit of fuzziness that it's getting. They're holding up really well in the wash, and there's not I haven't worn a hole through any part of it yet. So super excited by that. So that was an older finish object. Since I don't have any right now, I may have something done, maybe. I'm hoping maybe those socks next week, but I'm not promising because I'm only halfway done through one sock and I still got to do the second one. So we'll see. All of this chaos of moving houses and everything has really put me out of sync with my my projects. So we'll see. But I'm so glad that you are here back with me again. And I'm sorry I'm a little bit frazzled and all over the place right now. I'm not used to this space as far as everything is totally blurry at this camera. I hope the whole thing isn't blurry. I'm gonna have to go back now and look at it all. I hope the whole thing wasn't like that. But you know, the sounds of the cars going by and the whole space is just different. It feels different and I'm still trying to get used to it. So I apologize. I'm a little bit all over the place, but I am happy to have another chance to chat with you and spend some time with you, share some of the things that I enjoyed doing during this time, and I will see you next week. Thank you for stopping by. Bye-bye.